throughout this Me Too movement, there have been several men who have been accused of sexual misconduct or misconduct, involving their employees, and the men have denied it. One of those men was Ryan Seacrest, and there has been an internal investigation involving accusations that were lodged against him by a former stylist that worked with him 10 years ago. Now, he has been cleared of any wrongdoing. The independent investigation did not find any evidence to corroborate what the woman had accused him of, and he decided to speak out about his experience in a post for The Hollywood Reporter. I wanted to share it with you guys. He said, in November, I received a letter from a lawyer representing a former show stylist. She claimed that I mistreated her more than a decade ago when we worked together. This arrived during an unprecedented public reckoning by women in our industry and beyond, courageously coming forward to share their stories. I was and am amazed at their bravery. Now, he says, I publicly denied the claims against me and agreed to participate in any inquiry the network deemed appropriate. On February 1st, I received notice that an independent third party found the claims to be unsubstantiated and that there was no evidence of wrongdoing on my part. And then he gets to something that I think a lot of people have wanted to articulate but have been fearful of doing so, right? So he says, most of us agree that the presumption of innocence is an important standard. We must find a way to ensure that everyone, the public, private, and public institutions, accusers and alleged accused, is given the opportunity for a swift and fair review.
Look, unfortunately, oftentimes things break into two sides, right? So there's a side that is never believed the women in the first place for decades and decades and decades. Oh, they're just trying to get money. Oh, they're just trying to do this. They're trying to get famous. You name it, right? And then there's this side now, briefly, that said every woman is telling the truth. Well, that's obviously preposterous, right? And both sides are preposterous. The earlier point that lasted for decades is worse because it affected millions upon millions of women. And it kept them down, and it added injustice on top of the injustice they had already suffered. That people wouldn't believe them, basically carte blanche, like I don't care, I just don't believe you, period. I'm not even having a discussion about it.
Right.
So we shouldn't make the mistake of swinging the pendulum too far in the other direction, and that's what Ryan Seacrest is pointing out here. And so we've, I think, handled this right throughout. Of course, I think that because we're the ones who did it. Otherwise, we would have done something else. But it's not easy. And going all the way back to the woman with the mattress at Columbia, and we kept saying throughout, look, you got to be fair to all sides here. And for too long, women have not been believed on college campuses as well. On the other hand, the guy deserves a fair hearing, and you can't just smear somebody because you got an art project. And we've done it in almost every case that's come up here. Why? Because of course, sometimes the person didn't do it. And by the way, it is the progressive position to give people a chance. Yes, including men who've been accused of this.
Right, so I think that, and by the way, I myself am totally guilty of this, and I appreciate Ryan Seacrest, sharing his perspective because it's making me more aware. But I think sometimes people in general have a difficult time differentiating between believing someone, just straight up believing someone as soon as they accuse someone else of wrongdoing, or taking the accusation seriously and waiting to see the evidence and see, proof that that person actually did commit the wrongdoing that they're accused of.
Yeah, and I think that there's probably a little bit of a misunderstanding about the phrase, I believe the women. It's a little bit like Black Lives Matter. Some people interpret it as, then that means no other lives matter. No, that's preposterous. They're saying Black Lives Matter also, and it hasn't been treated that way. And when people say, I believe the women, I think that the overwhelming majority of them are saying, women have not been believed en masse before. Now we do believe them, and we're willing to hear them out. It doesn't mean I believe every single woman and every single accusation and all men who have been accused are automatically guilty, right? And so if you're a liberal, you should care deeply about all those women who've been oppressed for all those years, who have now in a sense been liberated, and it's a wonderful moment. And you should also care to make sure that we're not throwing people under a bus and that we give them due process. And so, and it sounds like from what Seacrest is saying, He cares about the movement. He thinks it's a wonderful movement, but he didn't happen to do it. And now an investigation has proven him right about that. You just watched the video by the Young Turks, home of the revolution. If you'd like to get a lot more than that, get the full show by becoming a member. tytnetwork.com/join.